the way I sort of found my way into Universalist thinking, uh, it was in a very indirect way. I was a philosophy student at the time, majoring in ethics, and I was doing a lot of research on capital punishment and theories of justice with capital punishment. And up until that point, I was not very familiar with understandings of restorative justice and what that might look like and how justice and forgiveness might go together. And so that actually reading about restorative views of justice is what kind of started sparking my curiosity, just wondering like, I wonder if there's any Christian theologians that have like understood God's justice as more restorative than retributive. And so they kind of sent me down that path. This was about 20 years ago, and I was in a graduate philosophy program focusing on philosophy of religion, but doing some other things too. And I took a course called, let's see, what was the name of it? Neoplatonism and Ancient Christian Theology, where we studied a lot of the ancient Greek church theologians, people like Origen, Gregory of Nyssa, Clement of Alexandria. And the course wasn't at all focused on Universalist teachings, but one of the things I was really struck by as we studied these ancient thinkers, especially Gregory of Nyssa, is how they all had this view of divine punishment in the afterlife as being purgatorial or refining or corrective. And at that point, I still hadn't come across any contemporary Universalist thinkers. And so I was really confused. Actually, kind of looking back, I'm kind of embarrassed, but my first thought is like, how could people so central to the Christian faith get something like this so wrong? Like, did they not know? Like, did they not know that the main right view is eternal torment forever? But it really opened my eyes to the fact that in the early church, there were a variety of views, and this sort of universalist vision that sees hell as corrective and temporary was actually quite popular. And so that was the first thing that started to influence me, the idea that the view that I grew up with hasn't always been the Christian view. And to me, that was just very eye-opening to learn historically. So then it got me to, I connected with some other professors that had been reading about this and thinking about this with more contemporary thinkers. And so I started reading Thomas Talbot and some other contemporary philosophers of religion like Jerry Walls, who's against the Universalist vision. And so I ended up writing a master's thesis on this topic. That was kind of my first writing on it. And when I set out to do that project, at first, even though I found Thomas Talbot's arguments interesting, I set out to try to refute them and offer something like a free will defense of hell, kind of like what Jerry Walls and some others do so well. But the more I reflected on the scriptures and the more I thought about the arguments, I just came to the conclusion that the Universalist view actually, it made more sense. It seemed to cohere better with a wide range of scriptures. And it's just, more hopeful and more inspiring and more joyful.